Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rob, host of From My Experience podcast. I feel like I did that backwards. I'm starting with the straight music. Yo, man, life has been lifing. I really want to get on here and rant about something, but I can't. so bad, but I can't. But we got a good episode for y'all. I did an impromptu episode last week. But this one, we gonna be on topic. But man, how y'all doing out there? Are you feeling all right? Are you feeling okay? Have you been taking care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially? Did you listen to the last week's episode when I talked about taking care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially? Huh? Probably not. It's all right. We gonna get into a couple things. Go back and listen to the episode. It's pretty good. Yo, man, it has been a crazy week, y'all. So,
hello.
I am not alone. I have the co-hostess with the mostest, Ericca. What is going on? How art thou?
If I was really honest, they might have to put me in a straitjacket. I'm not gonna lie to you. But all is well. I had a Pop-Tart, took a nap before.
I'll be down.
What? You had a Pop-Tart when?
Like, as soon as I woke up, I took a nap, and I set the timer to give me 20 minutes to do a nap. This was at 6:40. I woke up at 7:13. I said, what happened? And I said, I think I want something sweet. So I had a Pop-Tart, and then I was drinking some water, and then I was like, let me set up. And that's when I ran into technical difficulties. And I was like, of course this is going to happen to me now.
I'll be down.
I wanted something sweet. But, yeah.
Yo, we are not alone today. We are joined with friend of the show. You know you're a friend of the show when you no longer get the guest music. We have the host of Frank Factualities, Miss Yolanda. What's going on?
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
I'm hanging in there.
How are you doing?
I'm better than you, Ericca. Straight jacket. I was just saying, I'm feeling great. I'm just going to embrace the fact that I don't need any meds right now. So I'm good.
Thank goodness. All right, y'all. So last week, I put some feelers out there about this topic. So I only thought about this topic because as a former teacher, I always reflect and think about my time in the classroom and think about what kids go through. And also being, where the heck is this thing at? Also being an uncle, I have a nephew, so I interact with him every now and again, and it's interesting to see how they're developing and how the world is so different for them and how, like, the things they have access to. So it made me pose a question in the group, which was, when it comes to wanting to have kids or already having them, what were or are some of your biggest concerns from them as far as their upbringing and future? So I got some feedback from the group, and I'm going to share that. I'm going to share the feedback I got from people, and then we're just going to go around the room because I do want to have kids. It's probably going to happen, be an old-ass daddy at this point.
I'll be down. I'll be down. I'll be down. I'll be down.
I'm going to be an old-ass daddy at this point. Wow. Like, if I had a kid this year, by the time they enter kindergarten, I'll be 46.
I'll be down. I'll be down.
Okay.
I'll be down.
All right. So, shout out to David Bradley in the From My Experience podcast group on Facebook. Don't forget you can follow us on Instagram, FME_podcast, and you can join the Facebook group From My Experience podcast. He said, only thing I'm worried about right now is the current office. So he's talking about the political office. He said, I got college to primary, and it's not looking good for any of them. Wow. So he got kids college to prime. Wow. Yeah. That has to be pretty scary. Shout out to Richard J. Wallace. Richard! He said, my biggest concern is that they're exposed to so much so fast, but overall the level of maturity has gone down. I will agree with that. Scares me that the world treats kids like adults so soon, but they still acting like little kids.
Mm.
That hit. Yolanda, how you feel about that?
I agree. I think that I don't know. Do you guys know the actor? What is his name? Is it Da Vinci? He plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on. What's the name of the show? BMF as
Mhm.
the brother with the eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, chill. And I
So
knew
he
because of the
interviewed-
eye.
But yes, I had to say that part.
You did.
He did an interview and he's from somewhere. I don't know. He's not from the US. And he said that he feels as though we baby kids here in America and that we allow them after a certain age to still stay with us until they're 25, 26. And oh, they need time. They're still babies. They still need to grow. And he says that that's not something that he's accustomed to and that he feels as though we need to get them ready for the world sooner. And I kind of gotta agree.
I agree.
I think that we should teach them like they should be mature up until a certain point and not baby them and not coddle them because the world won't. And you know how back in the day, in the 70s, everyone looked like they were 40 and they were like 17. I feel like we're
Yeah.
getting back to those times. To me, everybody is so much older, so they're going to be treated that way. And you just need to be able to carry yourself accordingly. And nowadays, you'll see someone with a full beard and they won't even look you in your eyes and they'll stutter when they're talking to you. And then you realize, okay, I don't think this is an adult,
Yeah.
which they may be 18, 19, but they're still communicating as if they're still in high school.
I agree. I agree with most of what he said. The whole staying at the house thing. It's like, why are they staying at the house? Are you babying them and letting them stay at the house, or are you helping them save so they can go get their own house? But I do get that they do baby them. We do baby the kids here. Like I even look at the way like my mom treats my nephew sometimes, and how like I have to really come in and discipline him and stuff, and like the stuff that upsets them and the reactions that they get to the things like. You like not necessarily my nephew, but like kids will throw an entire temper tantrum when you ask them to like clean up after themselves, like simple stuff. And I'm like, yo, when I was your age, like I used to be like I had to collect all the trash, roll the trash can out, mop, sweep, dust, like all of that, and miss half of my Saturday cartoons doing it. You know, from an era where when it comes on TV, if you missed it, sorry, buddy, see you next week. Ain't no streaming. Ain't no internet, ain't no YouTube, none of that. You miss it, sorry, buddy. See you next week. Like, and it's just crazy how much, like back to what Richard said, what they're exposed to. It's like what they're exposed to, one, and not having the context. So that's why I think conversations with your kids are so important. Like finding out what they're being exposed to, providing them context so they know like what's real, what's fake, and like what's behind these things. And then just teaching them responsibility and holding them accountable. Hold them accountable. Show them that there are consequences for your actions. There's consequences. I'm not going to buy you this, or I'm taking this away from you for a while, or I'm going to make you do this. Like it don't exist, man. I think too many people are letting their kids sit in front of these devices because when they do that, the kid is so locked in, you get your time back. Like back in the day, our parents, they either had to be with us, we were outside playing, or we were reading. Like that was really it. Play video games every now and again, but that was it. Now these kids, they got phones, they got tablets, they got computers, and they have all this entertainment. So parents are like, oh shoot, hey, he entertained, cool. I'm about to go do me. And it's like, bruh, that is like your future investment for like, you know, when you need help when you get older. Or anything, like even when they become teenagers and stuff like that, like you want to raise them to be helpful and productive. So yeah, he made some good points. What about you, Ericca?
I kind of see two sides of
Ooh, yeah, because you're younger too.
it.
So me and Yolanda are closer in age, or close in age. So you're
How old are you, Erica?
I'm 24.
Okay. Ooh.
I don't even remember what I was doing when I was 24.
Tinder.
I was teaching and still going to parties and then coming back the next morning to work from out of
Oh,
town.
I did that this past weekend. Was
I'll be
hungover at my
damned.
desk playing in spreadsheets.
I'll be damned.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Jesus.
There you go. There you go.
But I see both sides because while I agree with, kids, I feel like they're definitely exposed to a lot. I think about my upbringing, and I don't know if maybe my parents were just like in comparison talking to my friends, maybe my parents were just really strict. I don't know. But I remember having like parental locks on my TV until I was like 15. So I wasn't allowed to watch anything PG while I was 15 years old, but you know, and I had to like beg my dad. I was like, please, can I please watch like Degrassi or Zoe 101 or this episode of Wizards of Waverly Place because it's rated PG and I'm only on Y7 and G at 15 years old. And also having like my phone be monitored. I didn't get my first phone until my first iPhone I got in the 8th grade. And my first phone ever was a small little flip phone, and it was only so I could contact my mother, even though I went to school with her.
I was trying to hold it.
It was the smallest flip phone with a little antenna, and I remember my
I'll
aunt
be
giving me a
damned.
little Juicy Couture charm to sit on the antenna, and I flipped it up, and it said Mama, Daddy, and then my brother.
I'll be damned. I'll
And
be
I remember
damned.
that being my phone all the way until I was like 13 and me getting the iPhone when it was my birthday. So it's like I definitely saw the sides where they expected of me and they expected me to be mature, have accountability, learn different roles and responsibilities, especially as a child and you're growing up and you're going through puberty. But I also remember at the time feeling as though the world already treats us so differently. Um, and especially if you bring race into it, the world already
Oof.
makes you an adult, especially if you're a black child. And it's 10 times worse at how harsh adults can treat you and treat you as if you're nothing because you're a child at the end of the day. You have no authority, you have no say. So you don't have any autonomy. And I remember it just sucking at the same time to go into the world and deal with it all day with all of these different adults expecting so much, so much, so much of you that by the time that you went home, you just wanted to be a kid. You just wanted your parents to treat you like a kid. So I kind of see both sides of it. And I know that there's different ebbs and flows with different upbringings that I see of children. Like, yeah, snatch that iPad out their face. Absolutely. Until they can say thank you, no thank you, things like that. But then
Yeah.
I also see the other factors of it too, where the social and development skills of kids have gone down drastically, where kids are being like statistically, they are saying that growing up and becoming just not nothing, but they're lacking in so many different ways. And I know that the pandemic has played a big part of that
Yeah.
because all of these kids, like a majority of kids in high school, still don't know how to write. They still don't know how to type correctly, and they walk around with floppy feet, no balance, no posture, nothing because
Yo, floppy
at
feet is
home.
crazy.
I'll be damned.
Floppy feet because them wearing Crocs and slippers and slides like all day, and so it's like they don't know how to dress. Like I don't know if you've seen what
PJs.
happened on like TikTok where the girl done got fired from her office job because she showed up thinking she could be in a tube top and a mini skirt, like that was business
I'll
casual.
be damned.
Like it's just a certain different things I
Yeah.
feel like play a factor. But I see both sides and I understand both sides.
Yeah. We just got to make some adjustments, man. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustments to be made. I'm gonna share a little bit more feedback. Shout out to my boy Carl Van. This is serious. I'm gonna shed a tear. So he said, my concern before having kids were hard. I didn't have my dad, so I didn't know what it meant to be one. Also, I wanted to give them opportunities I didn't have. And I will say Carl is doing a damn good job of that. I tell him he's a dope dad all the time because he's like, man, I got to go pick my son up for this, or man, I got to pick baby girl up for this, or we're doing this weekend. Man, I'm doing so much, man. I hope I'm doing. And I was like, bruh, I was like, your kids at their age are doing more than I did from kindergarten through high school. Like now, early. Having those concerns on those things are there, but primarily for me is that God keeps them safe when I can't keep them safe. Those forehead kisses when they leave for the day are me sealing my prayer that they come back to me home unharmed, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. Yolanda, you connected with that. Now, Yolanda's the only one who has a family. You know, I was about to say Rob and I. Jesus, me and Ericca don't have any churn yet. Yo, don't do that to me. So, Yolanda, you made a face.
I did, because I always say we are how we were raised, good, bad, or indifferent. And when he said, you were mentioning he didn't have a father, I see when I first became a mom, I knew that I didn't want to do some of the things that my mom did with me, or I didn't want my daughter to grow up how I did. So then you monitor and adjust because you're trying so hard to not be like your parents, or you're trying so hard to be like your parents, because again, we're going to do that based on how we were raised. It's just going to happen. So even if you don't think that you're going to be like them, or that isn't in the back of your mind, it will be. And then I so hope that you do it with a partner, like you have your baby's father or baby's mom with you, because you need that balance, and you do need someone to say to you like, hey, it doesn't have to be this way, or let's try this, because you'll get so caught in your head just sometimes trying to do the opposite, and it's not working. So I say that to say, my mom made me wake up before I went to school in the morning, and I had to clean my room and do all this. Now, mind you, my situation is very unique. I had a child as a child. So my whole thing was I was tired. And so then when I started having kids, I didn't care if they cleaned. I didn't care if they did all this, because I kept feeling like, well, my mom didn't work. So I'm like, well, why can't you clean? Why do I have to go to school, come home, clean all this stuff, wash the dishes? What were you doing all day? Like, what were you doing? Because I had work, and I still have work. And then I have this child that I have to take care of when I come back. So then when I got my kids, I was just like, well, they don't have to do that. You know, they have this to do. And my husband had to be like, absolutely not. You know, no. They got to learn. He got to learn how to do these things. No, ma'am. And it was a battle. And it was something that I had to just, because if you don't teach them, then who will? So even though you don't want to, okay, I don't want you to mess up my kitchen, I don't want you to be wasting all of my detergent trying to wash clothes. How are they ever going to know if you don't allow them to just do? And that was something that was hard for me to just let go of doing it for them, because I felt like I wanted them to still be kids. But how long is that going to go? Because you're going to forever feel like, oh, they, you know, like my son's in the band now. Oh, he has so much to do. He has practice every single day. Sometimes he doesn't get home to 8. I don't want him to have to do those things. No, because how well would you have done when you're first place if you had never had to wash those dishes and wake up on Saturday mornings and do those chores? How prepared would you have been for your first place? You would have been lost. So I just think that and the praying part, kids are a gift and a curse. They're a blessing, but they're a curse, because they're gonna drive you crazy, and not for the reasons you think. To me, they're more trouble when they get older, and not really trouble, but it's harder. When they're babies, it's so easy because they're with you all the time. You really can protect them, but you want to allow them their freedom, because they need to grow and they need to evolve and they need to become their own individual. We don't own them, right? We have to let go, but letting go means, oh my God, someone can do something to you and I may not be there. So when he mentioned that, he mentioned in his response about praying, oh yeah, my son's learning how to drive now. Ooh, I'm so scared.
Ooh, shit.
Because you will never get sleep. It's like, yeah, you'll never get sleep. It's just like, oh my God, are they coming home? Who's in the car with them? Did they go where they said they were going to go? Oh, Jesus, what happens if there's an accident?
They
like,
absolutely did not go where they said they were going to go. I'm telling you, sorry.
I'll be damned.
It's so stressful. It's never a peaceful moment. Never. So, you know, I feel his pain.
Yeah, that was deep, man. And now, as someone who does not have churn, the parent thing definitely is very heavy on my mind. As I've gotten older, you know, you kind of have to. I've had the benefit and privilege of being reflective and looking at how I was raised and some of the things that happened to me, and then also looking at how my parents' lives were turning out or turned out, and said to myself, do I want to live like that? Like, do I want to make these choices? What did I like about my upbringing? What didn't I like? And then I also had the benefit and privilege. I mean, I worked to earn my degree, but I also taught. So I got to see and connect with kids on a different level. And I got to see what it was like when a kid is disconnected with their parents and very connected with their parents. And the stuff that they do when their parents aren't around. And how my biggest concern, I would say, is I want my kids to be able to trust me and tell me anything. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've had to call or email a parent and say, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but we were walking around at recess and such came up to me a little sad and asked if they could talk to me, and they shared this. And the parent is dang near in tears, like, I had no idea, no clue. Oh my God, what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, it's okay. Like, they're a kid. You know, they're a little scared. They're a little confused. I just happen to be an adult that they could trust to share that with because I'm a goofball and we have fun all the time. They're probably just scared that they're going to get in trouble with you. But, you know, just have a conversation. Let me know if there's anything you want me to do here at school, you know, on a day-to-day basis to help with that and check in, you know. But I want that. Like, I want my kids to be able to come to me because that's how I was with my dad. Like, my dad, I could tell him everything. My dad also exposed me to things before the world could, or when he figured I probably was exposed to things, he would sit and have conversations. Like, when I started drinking beer, I wasn't a beer drinker or drunk like that, but like every now and again, like once every 2 or 3 months, he would order pizza and give me like a quarter of a beer or half of a beer, because he was like, I'd rather you do this with me in a safe, controlled environment, not make it a habit. My dad wasn't giving me all kind of crazy stuff, but I'd rather you do this in a safe, controlled environment than when you out here in the street with your friends. Because I was in Philadelphia, y'all, so I'm taking public transportation at 16 and 17, like, and I'm going across the city, you know what I'm saying, doing all kind of stuff with my friends. Nothing crazy, but just, you know, so I had a lot of respect for my dad because he also listened. That was the thing that I loved the most about my dad. Like, when you grow up in the South, back from my era, I was born in 84, it was, if you're a kid, you shut up, you listen, you speak when spoken to. You do what you're told. The end. You had no voice. You had no opinion. My dad changed that. My dad said, I don't have to say yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. He said, that's slave shit. And people don't like that about me to this day when I'm in the South. When I don't say yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, they don't like it. But I'm like, that's how I was raised. And I mean, I'm not disrespecting you. I say yes and no. But just some of those small things he taught me, and then just him actually sitting and listening most of the time. Sometimes he pulled the nigga sit down. But most of the time, I had a voice. So reflecting on like what my mom did, what my dad did, I kind of like have an idea in my mind of some of the things I want to do with my kids, because overall I like the relationship I had with both of them. There's some things that could be better, but you know, I'm working on that. And I got time because I ain't got no churn. What about you, Ericca? Do you even want kids?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. But I agree with how you said how your father treated you growing up. That's how my parents treated me growing up. So very early on, they definitely made sure that sitting at the dinner table, yes, but we would just talk to each other about like our days. And
Yeah.
they basically were able to let me like articulate, communicate how I was feeling, or we would do like not debates but conversations about like politics, things that are going on in the news, current things like that. And it got to a point where I did feel like my mom and my dad, they always kind of like instilled in us growing up, me and my brother, they were just like, we may be irritated or mad or upset with you if you came to us and you told us something, but we'd rather you come and tell us rather than find out after the fact, because they're just like, we just want to be aware or know.
Yeah.
So growing up, I think that's really all I did. Like, it got to the point where I was telling them everything, and I still tell them everything. I call my mom, I tell her everything, even though she's like, Erica, please, no, stop, I'm gonna hang up. No, you're gonna hear everything about this past weekend, girl. Sorry, we're gonna do a recap. But it's just because it's like when you have, and I don't know if it's just one because I had like my mom and my dad, but also I had their friends around. So it's like I had like the aunts and the uncles that like aren't really aunts and uncles, but
Same.
I had so many like adults around me that were just like, hey, like if you can't tell your parents about this, like tell us, like we'll be fine. And I was telling my mom that like last night, I was like, it's crazy. It's like I was just thinking the other day about like my auntie and everything. And I don't really call them my auntie. I still call them like Miss or Mister. And I'm just like, they done known me for like since I came out the womb. I was like, they know me better than I know myself, just like you guys. And also like my dad, he definitely was the type to um try different things with like he knew he basically my parents were like, we did it, so we're not gonna always act as if you guys aren't going to do it
Right.
too. And so they just wanted us to be prepared. Like my dad, he definitely gave me drinks as a tester, allegedly, to make sure I knew my limit. Because he said, you're growing up, you need to know your limit if you're out with your friends.
Yeah.
You need to know what's going on. And he mixed my colors, my liquors, all types of crazy on me. I was so tore up. And to this day, that lesson, it rings in my head where every time I go out and they're like, what do you want? Vodka tonic. That's it. Nothing else. Don't give me nothing else. We're not mixing over here. But like stuff like that, or like to the point where I felt like comfortable enough to tell them like before I went to like undergrad and be like, hey, like I may try something. I'm just letting y'all know now. And sure enough, my mama got the call where I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm tripping out so bad here, girl. And she's telling me to just stick my face out in the window and let the air just hit my face and everything. She said, you'll sleep it off. You'll be fine. But they kind of just had to sit back. And the thing is, they wanted to provide and do what they didn't have growing up, or the relationship that they didn't have with their parents growing up, where they could talk and do all this different stuff. And in turn, I feel like it made me and my brother so much better off because we were like, we could talk to y'all about anything. Like anything. Like, yeah, you guys might tell us that's dumb. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. But it's like we could sit there and talk to you guys about anything. And then also they told themselves that they had to trust that we were just a mirror of themselves and what they did for us. So they're just like, hey, we told them, we said if anything ever happened and anything ever popped off, they could call us, but we just have to trust that they know that. So
Very true. Very true. My dad gave me the drinking thing too. He was like,
mm-hmm.
if you're out drinking and you bite your bottom lip and you can't feel it, you're done. Don't have any more. Your bottom lip 1,000% gets numb when you start getting drunk. 1,000%. I always took that.
I just got real giggly.
But I did when I started drinking. It was face for me. If I can't feel my face, that's it. It's my face.
I'll be damned.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Like
Yeah.
I can't. Or everything around you starts feeling like a movie. It's like
I love that.
real. Yeah, the feeling of like, okay, I'm in a different, dimension.
It's like slow-mo in a
What
way.
were y'all drinking?
Yeah.
I think women experience drunkenness. You know what?
Oh,
and not even
alcohol,
women.
the
People.
alcoholic content, it is different for women.
And
like
there's people.
yeah.
It hits everyone different. Yeah. When I think about parties I've been to, and because some people get to crying and snotting and they want to confess their whole life. Some people get angry. Me, I just be chilling. I like to enjoy, especially now that we adults and we working. I enjoy the fact that it relaxes me. Like that is what I look for. But I can't even drink like I used to because my stomach doesn't agree with it. So yeah, there's that. All right. So my cousin, shout out to my cousin Shanna. So she has 2 children. So she said, my biggest concern prior to and currently was raising a black son in today's society. My guard is always up and I'm still fearful to a certain extent. She said costs would have to come in a close second as children are very expensive. Yes, they are. Well, both fear just come from more with a black son. And lastly, as a parent, making sure my children are fully aware that racism still exists. Whenever they are not with us, they are not protected. So awareness is very awareness is a very big thing. I was aware of quite a few things growing up, and I think about today's kids where it can kind of be masked a bit. I think a bigger, and it's sad too, because it's like, I think about when I grew up. I grew up partly in the South and partly up north, and the stark difference. Like up north, I didn't meet a lot of my friends' parents up north, but I had friends from all different kind of cultures. We're still Facebook friends. I mean, Italian, black, white, Russian, African, like people from across the world, like were my friends, and we're still cool. And it's just like that sweet innocence of a child just learning and interacting with one another, and they can easily be poisoned by their parents by saying, hey, these people are like this, these people are going to do this. And it's like, bro, your child has day-to-day experience with these quote-unquote people you're describing, and they're getting a very different experience than what you're saying that they will get or should expect. So I think a lot of time it is the parents just instilling that into them. But yeah, it definitely does exist. And you do have to have your guard up, especially as a young black man. You get accused of stuff, you're automatically looked at as a threat. And like, my cousin is a cool kid, man. He is a cool kid. He's goofy like me. And yeah, I love him to death. Both my little cousins. So yeah, that's definitely very real, man. Just raising a black son or even a black daughter, like just black period, is different, especially again with this administration, man. It's I can't, y'all. I know we haven't been giving y'all headlines too, by the way, but it's so depressing. And I don't even want to say his name, but that man in that office is like trying to take us back to like the 40s or something like that. I'm gonna stop there. Y'all have thoughts about that?
Hibernate for these next 4 years, but it's not possible.
We gotta get money in these next 4 years. Watch what the people with money are doing, y'all. This is the time to buy stocks and invest in stuff. People talking about the stock market is crashing and blah blah blah. Excellent. If you don't have money in there, definitely excellent. That literally means for you, everything is on sale. The end. This is, if you ever thought about investing, you questioned it, this is the time, man. This is the time. Buy it now. It will come back up. And you have to remember, it's a long game. This is not, hey, I want to put this in and take it out 12 months later. This is 10, 15, 20 years. Like, this is like retirement type deal. All right, so just keep that in mind. But Yolanda, I'm curious of your thoughts, because the oh Lord, the way you just rolled.
Sorry. No, my husband, I let him handle everything when it comes to my son, because obviously I don't know what it's like to be a black man in the world. So I don't try. I literally let him, because I've learned, that's another thing. And I don't want to get on my soapbox about it, but I know that we as black women think that we can raise black men. And I think that our job is to nurture them up to a certain point, and then we have to allow their fathers to take over. And it was the smallest thing that made me come to that realization, because I had a pet peeve of jumping into situations where my husband would try to discipline our son. I would always want to try to save him from his father, because as you know, Rob, fathers can be hard on their sons.
Yeah.
And I wanted to save him. I wanted to rescue him from the wrath of his dad,
Not the wrath. Damn.
I did. And so it was something so small that I was like, you know what? I really don't know this stuff. He was using the restroom, and everybody knows, okay, boys should not sit down. I mean, I know that. But my son was, when he was little, pulling his pants all the way down to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I remember his dad was like, stop pulling your pants all the way down. You don't even supposed to like pull them past your butt. They don't even come down. You just pull right here. And then, but I promise you, it would have never registered in my brain that, hey, don't pull your pants under your butt to use the bathroom. I mean, I'm not a dude. I don't stand and pee. I would never have known. Now, girls, Ericca can tell you, our parents taught us, you better put that tissue down. Don't you sit on nobody's toilet.
Yeah.
You hold yourself up over it, or you laid some tissue down. Or either, as little girls, they would literally hold us up while we use the restroom at bathrooms. So we know those things, but I'm not going to know those little nuances. And then I realized when my son was going to school and giving me scenarios, and I would tell him, well, you get back to school, you tell him this. And my husband's looking at me like, he is not a woman. Why would he say it like that? And why would he like,
your son going to school expressing himself? that matters too, though, but go ahead.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't think, because, and then you you wonder and you think, like, when you see other kids, and because you've been in education, I'm still in education, when you see how these kids respond and interact about certain things, you can kind of tell, like, okay, grandparents raised them. That is an old man.
Yes.
He respond just like old people. And I didn't want my son to be acting like his mama at the schoolhouse when his daddy is in the house. So also, as far as him being a black male, I think it depends on where you live. We live in Orangeburg. It's probably about 95% black.
Yeah.
I am very proud of that. I know, like, the sheriff knows my name. The sheriff for the like, I know he knows my name when he sees me. He knows my husband when he sees him. He knows my son. Like, I know him personally, and most of the officers are black. Public safety, I don't live in the city, but either way, majority of those officers are black. So I'm not as concerned about my son in our city, because they are used to dealing with us because they are us. And so you really don't have those, like, situations that we read about or hear about in the news. However, my husband is from Mount Pleasant, Charleston. Right. And so his experience growing up has been totally different. So when he talks to our son, he's speaking from his experience, where he was the first, he went to Wando High School, and he was the first black drum major at Wando. If he wasn't the first, he was the second. I don't know. Let me lie on that. But anyway, they broke into his home and wrote "No nigger drum major."
Wow.
And yeah, on the walls. And so it was just really rough for him. So I worry about my son when he goes to visit his granny, and that when he goes to Mount Pleasant, and she's like, yeah, just walk down the street to the center. And I'm just like, what? You want him to walk? No, I don't want him to walk, because I know that that's not our area. It's predominantly white neighborhood. I'm fearful of that, because I know that but to be fair, I think that being raised in Orangeburg and being around, like, everybody's black. Your principal is black. All of your teachers are black. The man who owns the Chick-fil-A in Orangeburg is black. Like, is biggity black. So you have this sense of pride where you really don't feel intimidated when you're around a bunch of white folks. So he's not going to present himself like, oh God, what are they going to do to me? He wasn't raised that way. He doesn't feel as though he has to, again, move differently around them. But I don't want them to see my hip hop dressed son and assume that he's this because he's growing up biggity black. And all black people care about is it's a class thing, who's wearing what, how much money you got. And so that's how we tend to separate ourselves from each other in Orangeburg, for sure. But yeah, I think it depends on where you are. I said all that to say, I think it depends on where you live and how your kids are coming up. So we're in Orangeburg, 95% black. School is 98.9% black. So yeah, I don't have those issues where I live, but I am concerned about when he goes off to college and where he lives and that sort of thing. But I let his father talk to him about being a black man in America, because I don't know that experience.
Yolanda, I always hold you in high regard and esteem, just all the way back from my IMM days. Was that the name of that place?
It was, yeah.
All the way back then, I've always had this high level of regard and respect for you, and I didn't even think it could get higher, and it just did. Because that is a brave, bold thing that you did, and a very important thing. He's learning from you too. And you're right. How can I say this without pissing people off? It doesn't matter. Black women have struggles, and when I say few years, maybe 5, 10 or ish, there's been like a huge movement about you all's voices and you all's just roles, and then like the beautiful things that you all are accomplishing, which there is nothing wrong with it. It is awesome. It's spectacular, and you deserve to shine, and you deserve that. Unfortunately, a side effect, and this is kind of like what happens in our community, it's like we can't uplift someone or uplift without putting someone down on the side. And for men, typically we're quiet. We hold stuff in, we observe. our mindset is completely different, and we're focused on different things, and we want to go about things a different way, and we're always thinking about protecting. Like, I've never said this, and I've thought about this. Like, I wonder what a woman thinks, or how what goes through her mind. I could only imagine when she's like maybe in a store or something and she sees other black men. Like, what scenarios go through her mind, like, or if it's just you and maybe one or two other black men and everybody else is something else. Like, what goes through your mind? What goes through my mind when I'm like the only black man in the room, or there's only a couple of us and there's a couple women, we typically make eye contact, and I'm thinking to myself, if something happens, what would I do to help protect them? That's not even something that my dad taught me, but that's how I think when I'm just out in the world. Like, even when I'm in the grocery store, hey, you need help with anything? Like, I do stuff like that whenever I see a black woman. Like, it's instilled in me that we care for y'all, we want to protect y'all. But society-wise, yeah, raising the black man, like, what we go through and what we have to put up with and deal with, I don't think anyone will ever understand, and there's not very many people who will try to understand because they think it's easy. But we're literally constantly being challenged by everybody. Just like a lot of times women are constantly challenged by everybody. It just looks different. Y'all's is more overt. People will say stuff to y'all outwardly and disrespect y'all. For us, it's covert. It's actions. It's words. It's giving you a smaller portion. It's little sly remarks. It's, I'm gonna try you to see like what you gonna do, like, and you have to think about so many things. Like, if I smack the shit out of this nigga, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't want to go to jail, but also, now they gonna think I'm a punk, so now they gonna try me, like stuff like that. And then even just dealing with women, you have to have a woman with high emotional intelligence. You don't want to be this super over aggressive dude, but you're also not allowed to be soft. Oh, you soft. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, so it's like, it's so hard to just be accepted. But yeah, there's a lot of things that your husband is definitely going to instill in your son that will help him out in this world, because yeah, a lot of weight is on our shoulders. People don't see it. People don't understand it. People don't get it. My phone has ringed a lot for a lot of things that I will never speak on and speak about, but a lot of people have called me just because they wanted to feel protected and comforted. And I hold them up. And I don't have to go out here and brag about it or talk about it or put it on this podcast or put it on my story all the time or talk about how I'm always doing these things. But I do them, and I do them in silence without the extra added appreciation and wanting everyone to cheer me on. It's just something that I do, and I'm just used to doing it as a part of my day-to-day life. So I appreciate you giving your husband that space and giving your son that space, because he's going to remember that. He going to remember that. Now help him balance now. Please help him, like, make sure he knows how to speak.
I don't step all the way away.
Okay. That's the other thing. Like, we don't, like, even my older friends, I can tell some older friends I game with, they don't express their emotions often. It's not healthy. I express mine quite often, actually. If you listen to the podcast, yeah, I already know. I'm expressive. My dad raised me like that. But you got to do that, because I used to put up with a lot of stuff in my dating life and just regular life that I shouldn't have put up with, simply because I didn't speak up. I felt something about, like, oh, you a dude, you can't say nothing, that ain't right. Like, no, people don't expect you to do that, so don't do that. That ain't me no more. So, all right, off my soapbox.
I said it was when she said to her parents, they would sit and have dinner and they would just talk about their day. That's what I did when I first became a mom with my daughter. I never done it before, but what I knew is that if I would just open dialogue with her and just say, hey, how was your day? And every day. And then sometimes it's like pulling teeth because they don't want to talk. It's like, oh, fine. So then I asked details. Well, what happened in math? What happened in English? What happened at lunch today? Didn't you tell me last week that your two friends were beefing? Are they still friends? Is it like I would just, and then now it became me now checking in like I go to high school. Hey, what's up with old girl? What did she do today? Did she? And then now that makes her comfortable with talking to me about anything. It's just the little things. So you're able to express yourself because your parents allowed you that space to be able to do it. She can talk
Oh, you freezing. Did we lose you?
to anybody and express herself because she's comfortable doing it. Just say expect. So when my son, he loves it. Oh God.
Not your internet. Okay.
It's unstable.
You had a couple hiccups earlier, but it was cool. This time, oh Lord, and I frozen on the face. Thank God
am I
we not
back?
recording. If we was recording, yeah, you're back. We heard a majority of what you said though.
Okay.
Opening that dialogue, like
Okay.
you said, is extremely important. I used to tell my parents that when I was a teacher. I'm like, the best thing you can do with your kids is every day when they get home, say, "Do you have any homework? Well, how was your day? What'd you learn today? Tell me about your day. Do you have any homework?" I said, do it every day. And I said, before you know it, they're going to come home and you won't have to ask. And so many parents thank me for that. I was like, it's the little things, man. It is the little things like that, building that relationship.
Absolutely.
Ericca, how you feel about, men in this society and what we got? No, I'm just kidding.
You saw I was getting charged up too.
You getting charged up? Oh, you know what? Ooh, never mind. You don't need to speak on men right now. You do not. Hold up.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
I don't want you to speak on black men right now. I don't want you to.
I'm just playing. I love y'all sometimes, but I love y'all.
I always love y'all. I always love y'all through the ups, downs, good, bad, ugly, and the struggles.
And the foolishness. But But no, I absolutely agree with both of you guys and what you guys are saying, because I know for my mom, that was definitely something that she struggled with my brother, where she kind of just wanted to be comforting. She wanted to make sure that my dad wasn't being too harsh on my brother growing up and everything like that. But in turn, my dad focused that energy on me. So it was kind of like I got hit with like a double whammy of not just like learning things from my mom, but then I had my dad in my ear all my life, just telling me everything that he's been dying to say. So I think that's been like something, especially growing up, that's helped me, is getting to the point where now it's balanced. At one point, it was just my dad saying, write this down. And it's like, brother, relax. Like, why are we imagining all these different scenarios? I am 15. But but I appreciate them, because I mean, they don't come up until like 10 years after the fact. And I can sit there and go to him and talk about it and laugh. Like half of my work day sometimes is me calling him out the blue, telling him about something. And I said, am I tripping or what? You gonna tell me if I'm tripping, right? But and I enjoy my mom, and also because she did open that dialogue. The dialogue really started with my mom was because we went to a Title I school. She taught at a Title I school, so I was transferred to be there because I had a teacher who kept giving me tree nuts, knowing that I was allergic, and it just wasn't a. Yeah, that's the main reason why I ended up with my mom at school, was because she was trying to tell the teacher that, hey, she has an EpiPen. She is allergic to tree nuts. And she was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, don't worry about it. Gave me a bag of nuts the next day. I said, ma'am, I was like, what are you?
Wow.
And that was something where also I think that was one of my first instances of like awareness, because she didn't really care for me, because she thought that I was a difficult child when I wasn't, because my parents taught me to be expressive, to speak for myself, have my opinions. They wanted that. They wanted me to form my own opinions, things like that. So I was always getting into issues with her to begin with. And so when I went to the Taiwan school with my mom, it was just like all these different like cultures and different races and ethnicities. So it was like, yeah, I experienced like a little snippets of it a little bit, but nothing from like the teachers. It would be maybe from like the 1%, 2% population. And it's like, yeah, girl, but guess what? You at a Title I school, so now look. It's like, it's like, you can't be acting all uppity and we all sitting here in the same classroom. Now what? But again, S's and S pluses before, they did like A's and B's. But I feel like that kind of helped in a way. And also the area definitely made a big difference, because DMV area, it's very diverse.
Yes.
It's just a mixture of everything, no matter where you go. And so I think that truly did help growing up. I know that it still didn't wash away the fears that my parents had for us growing up with me and my brother, because, he was hot-headed. He easily tempered through like the puberty years, and then me, it's like I'm very opinionated, and my face is gonna show up before I tell it.
Same.
And so I don't know. I just think that and also from where they came from. My mom came from Connecticut, where she was one of like 5 in her graduating class, and my dad, he came from Front Royal, Virginia, the sticks, where he was really like the only one. Or like back when he was in high school, like, yeah, you could date, but you weren't able to like walk next to that person in the mall. Like you had to walk behind them. Like you guys couldn't hold hands, you couldn't be like
Wow.
affectionate or anything. So it's like they both came from that type of I guess environment. And then I guess when they went to Virginia State HBCU, and they were
Welcome
able to get
home.
that culture shock. Yeah. And get that culture shock. They were like, we're never leaving this. So it was kind of like I guess it just, yeah, they dealt with it in the corporate world and everything, but then when they had us, they were just like, we just don't want them to go through the same things that we did. And that's kind of how we ended up in the DMV. And we talk about all the time. I'm like, I would love to move to a different place, but honestly, I don't know where I would go that wouldn't give the same cultural like makeup or ethnicity where I feel comfortable, I feel safe. Like I don't know where I would go for all of that.
Nothing like a HBCU. All right, I'm gonna share this last piece of feedback, and then I'll get everyone's final thoughts, and I'll let everyone go. And I apologize if y'all have heard my stomach growl on this broadcast.
I heard your stomach.
You didn't eat.
I did have Chipotle earlier, and my mom had Chipotle for the first time because she had half of my food because she was gonna make a sandwich, and I was like, you can do better than that. I should have got 2 bowls. All right, my mentor, Corwin J. Millett. That's how y'all do. See, black man always taking care of black women. Not always. Ooh, I pissed someone off by saying always just now. Oof. All right. He said, bro. My mentor said, bro. All right. So that one, I guess, is probably the easiest one. You just want to do you just want to do all that you can, and you want them to be safe, and you want them to know that they're content. But that was like the biggest one. He said to make sure they were ready for the world, not that the world was ready for them, and to prepare them to be productive in this world. He said that was kind of the center for him. He wants them to be productive, and he wants them to add to this world and not be consumed by this world. And that's probably the biggest concern. And that's very real. I definitely, my mom, both my parents are college educated. My mom just worked at Department of Social Services. The end. She had side jobs every now and again to make extra money. My dad, I remember growing up, he had side hustles. I remember he sold like leather purses and stuff like that. I always remember the incense and the sprays with the Native American on the front. That brand, that stuff smelled really good. He used to do that. He used to play the guitar. So I feel like I get my entrepreneurial spirit from my dad. He was always trying and dabbling in things. And now, look, I got a podcast. I got a gaming thing. Pass the Peaz App. I was a realtor. I almost started a vending machine company. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then someone opened my mail and wrecked my life.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
I was wondering about your vending machine thing the other day. I said, I remember him talking about that. What happened? And I was gonna ask you, but okay.
Yeah, well, I ain't doing it no more because I don't want to be I don't want to be out there in the streets. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I gotta go on GoDaddy and cancel my URLs for that. But anyway, yeah, you want your kids to be productive, man, and that's a very big thing. So definitely want to ask Yolanda about this because your kids, look, where are they education wise? Like middle school, high school-ish?
I have a 31-year-old.
Okay,
So
you have an adult.
and I have a granddaughter. She's 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a 15-year-old son. So my oldest is 31 and my youngest is 15. And they're like 16 years apart because, her birthday's coming up, that sort of thing. But so I had time. But again, my situation is different. I had a child as a child, so I don't want to say I don't count that because obviously I was still a mom. I always like to say I've been a mom more than half of my life, which is the truth. You know, me and my daughter are only a few years apart, and most people don't think that that's my child. They think that that's my sister. But I didn't raise her as my sister. I raised her as my child. So that relationship is still the same, as in you. She doesn't curse in front of me. I don't go out and party and drink with her. We don't do any of that.
Mhm.
I just started letting her drink wine at my house. Okay. She's like, Mom, 30. Because
I'll be damned.
I really was old school. I just felt as though I was like me protecting her. Like I was wild as a child. When I say wild, I just told you I had a child as a child. So I was wild and I just wanted her to not be like me. So I was just protecting her, and that just went on a little longer. So yes, you want them to be productive, but that's why I said as they get older, it seems like it's harder. And I know that I wasn't the best parent with her because I was still growing up myself and trying to become an adult myself. So I'm raising myself and trying to raise her. And I don't think I prepared her enough for adulthood. So there were things that she still needed to learn, and she'll still call, not anymore, but in the beginning when she like first moved out and everything, hey, I'm in the grocery store. Where's the baking soda? What aisle do I find? I'm like, people work there, you know, you don't have to call me for these things.
You're my safe space, Mom.
Yes. And then it's like, okay, I need to do this. How do I get my lights on? I need to get this at the DMV. What do I need to do? So all those questions come. So when you think about, you know, as a final thoughts, what do I want for my kids? I want to prepare them so much so for adulthood that they will be able to survive if I'm not there. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's how I'm kind of rebranding myself as a mom with my 15-year-old. If I were to leave the world today, him and me and his father, would we have done a good enough job that our son will be okay without us? So that's how, and he hates us to talk like that, but it's the truth. Have I prepared him to be a man? You know, I tell him things like, hey, I don't want you living with a woman. Don't leave mama, daddy house to go live with someone else. You know, your job is to protect and provide, and you have to put yourself in a position to do that. So we give him responsibilities so that he can he'll know what that's like. You get what I'm saying? I wanted him to get a dog even just so he can, you know, be responsible for feeding something and taking care of something, just so he can get used to that. But he don't want a dog. He just hadn't gotten to that point yet, but hopefully I'll change his mind. But you know, just throwing him out things there. He may not be able to work, but I want him to get a part-time job just so you get used to getting money. You know, we make him buy when he has money, spend your own money, watch your account, see what you're doing. You know, just spend your own money.
Spoil me, no.
No. I mean, I'm not gonna make you buy your school clothes.
Yeah.
But if we're going out somewhere and you want something to eat, you have money, so you don't need to ask, can you get this? Just little things. You shouldn't have to ask. You are a growing boy. You need to have money in your pocket. So if you're at a game and you got a little girl that you're crushing on, you be like, hey, I got that. You want me to get that hot sausage?
Do not, sir.
I got you. You know, have a little couple dollars.
Buy her a lemonade.
Right.
See, that's where it starts. See, black man, that's where it starts.
On the band trip.
That's where it starts.
On a band trip, like, oh, you don't have no money? You know, I got you.
And a lot of kids don't be having money on those band trips.
No, they don't.
Like,
so
they don't.
Make them responsible.
The black
so
man
I think
struggle.
And you know what? That's what's crazy is that's like a line for me as a counselor. Whenever I'm talking to parents, I'm like, yeah, you know, what do you do? My job is to make sure that we put them in a position to be productive citizens. That's what I say. So I think that all goes into being a parent as well, putting your kids in a position to be productive, because again, your job is to raise them. And especially for women, I'm gonna say this to women and then I'm a hush. We always fussing about these black men and that they're not this and they're not that. But when we're given the opportunity to raise one, we drop the ball. So I'm going to
hold on. Here world, what did it do? Here world, what did it do? Here world. That was a bar. Well, you got the opportunity to raise one?
Yeah, we dropped the ball. That is what I noticed. I mean, we coddle them to the and then we wonder why they can't provide why they're not in a position to do that, why they're not ready to be married, why they're not ready, because we're dropping the ball. We're not raising them to be these men that we want to see. So that has been my role. I was talking about allowing his dad, my role is to make sure that I'm preparing him to be a husband for someone later. And I make sure he understands that, baby, women don't want to see that. You know, you want to do that. And then his dad teaches him, again, also how to treat a woman. And I know his dad doesn't like that. He's a little affectionate. You know, he'll hug you and do all these things. But I know that as a woman, you want your man to be able to express himself emotionally. Yeah. And that includes kissing on the forehead, coming in and hugging, asking how your day was. So it's a perfect balance, I think, because I am aware, and being in education has helped with that as well. When you were talking about that, because you see so many kids and you know their issues because they tell you. And so I'm just trying to, and my husband's in education. So my son just got me, we both from both ends just see so much that I think that we're doing a fairly decent job. So as parents, don't beat yourself up. Actually, don't stress yourself out if you don't have any children. You are going to have an opportunity especially if you have multiple kids, because neither of them will be the same. One is not like the other. Same mama, same daddy. Even so, it's not going to be the same.
It ain't.
They won't be like you, even in some cases. I'm very social. We got podcasts.
God dang it froze again.
Out here.
You said we got, hold on, you said we got
both of my kids. My husband says it's my fault. Huh?
Oh, the videos. Yo, your video. Hold on, you said we both had podcasts and then that it cut out.
No, I have a podcast. I was saying we both are in education, but my kids are quiet. They're not social butterflies like I was, or like my husband is very talkative. So you don't know what you're gonna get, is what I'm saying. You really don't know what you're gonna get. So you can't really prepare yourself for it. You just have to be in the best position to be a parent to whatever child you're gonna get. And then you have to roll with the punches with their personalities to see how you're gonna, again, that old thing of nature versus nurture. You know, what is going to be a balance between all of that, and you'll see what you're going to get. And I think you will be a great father at 50, Rob, just so you know.
I'll be damned.
I ain't got no choice. Shit. They going to be 10. Oh, they going to wear my ass out in high school. I'm going to be 55 and they going to be in high school doing all the things. That's another reason why I got to remain and stay in shape so I can keep up with them and not like fall asleep at all their events and actually like see what happens.
How we educators talk. You're going to be
all the games.
Got old parents, no, his daddy's like 60.
Yeah, that's 1000% gonna be me. Wow. And spent all these years without kids, really just getting my life together. Didn't do any of the fun, extravagant stuff you probably think I do as a single person. When your friends be like, man, you lucky to be single. Nah, dog, I done made some mistakes. This is recovery time. This has been, a lot of this time has been recovery time. I ain't been traveling the world. I ain't been smashing all these exotic cheeks. I ain't buy all these foolish and crazy things. Nah, bruh, I've been over here surviving. And now I'm going to bring this little one in my life that's going to make sure that I'm still surviving and not doing all these crazy things. So, yeah. Ericca, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
Yeah, and just to let you know, I had a friend in high school. His parents were in their 70s. I want to say he was very late. And I mean, he had the cool dad because the dad drove around with cases of soda in the back seat of his car. So.
That's old as hell. Okay, we getting all right, y'all.
It was ginger ale, wasn't it? No, I'm just kidding.
It was that and grape, and he always said, "Yeah, I got pop in the back seat if y'all want some." Okay,
riding around with grape soda, and I'm not even gonna do this. I'm gonna hit the exit music right now. That is this week's episode, Yolanda. Thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the show. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and shout out your podcast, Frank Factualities. Tell them where they can listen, where they can find all these good things.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, it's Frank Factualities, and I am the host. You all are welcome to come over there and join me.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We love y'all, man. Thank you for continuing to engage with us. Thank you for continuing to support the podcast. Thank you for putting up with my slackness as a podcast host. We consistent though. I almost missed last week, but I was like, nah, bro, we gonna be consistent. So I put that episode out on Saturday. But also, if you have any questions Or if you have a situation you want our advice, you can hit us up, rob@fmepodcast.com or admin@fmepodcast.com. It's kind of like a part of the show type thing. You can remain anonymous. That link is in the description. Again, follow us on Instagram, FME_podcast. You can join the Facebook group From My Experience Podcast. Fanbase. If you're not on Fanbase, Black-owned social media platform, we're on there as well, FME_podcast. If you are a parent and you got children, I'm going to pray for you. I pray that you are... Why are you laughing? I pray that you are all safe, healthy, and that parenting is going well, and that your kids really love and adore you, and that you're doing all the things you need to be doing as a parent. If you don't have kids yet, like myself, I'm praying for you as well. Just please get yourself together mentally. Make sure that it's something that you actually want to do, because it don't end. The parent, you're always going to be a parent no matter what. So really think about that, and think about, how you want to raise your kids and the type of experiences you want them to have. So when you meet that partner, if you're not already with that partner, have that discussion so there's no crazy ass surprises when that kid pops out and it's like, we ain't never talk about that. So yeah. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, and financially, and we'll catch y'all. Peace.